a sense of belonging is something that we have this deep inner desire for, and we are always, as human beings, seeking after that belonging and oneness with the people around us. Maybe not necessarily the immediate people around you, but just extrapolate that idea. Today, I really wanted to go into a much easier topic that is very comfortable for me, but this is nagging and weighing on me, and so we're going to dive into the discomfort of the sense of belonging and how to cultivate that. I believe wholeheartedly that this episode is going to empower you, is might challenge you on levels to connect with yourself and to have a little awakening. And I think that that is going to be powerful in your life. So stick with me for the entire episode, because at the end, I think you're going to come full circle and you're going to be like, wow. And then you're going to want to share it with a few people. Hey guys, welcome back to another Marvelous Mindset Monday episode. I am excited, maybe more like scared-sighted about the topic we're about ready to dive into, because like I said in the introduction, I really wanted to just go down like the easy path. I wanted to take the easy way and just talk about gratitude and just press simple on life. But this really is weighing on me, and it's something that the topic of belonging, I think, is very relevant in a lot of our lives. We went through and we made it through a pandemic, right? And that really revealed in a lot of people who was in their life, who was real in their life, where they felt they fit and belonged. And then have we even talked about all of the potential, wow, that isn't part of me. I don't identify as that. This doesn't resonate with me. And so we can kind of get into this identity crisis slash do I belong? And this is going to be very different than people pleaser. So I just want to differentiate that right now, that when I talk about belonging today, I'm not talking about people who are just trying to be people pleasers. I'm talking about just that internal need that we have within us, just like the blueprint that you have hardwired into you with all your special gifts, talents, and abilities. Well, we also have this desire to belong to a group of people or to belong to something that is greater than ourselves. Usually, this begins with our family unit, and sometimes it goes into our coworkers or into volunteer activities, right? We find these ways of people that we identify with, that are on a mission that resonates with us, that is also larger than us. Let's just do a gauge real fast on your sense of belonging. You might ask yourself, wherever you're at, do you feel deeply connected? And this, if you belong within your family unit, that could be if your immediate family, as in you, your partner, your offspring. It could be, do you feel deeply connected with the nuclear family that you were born into? It could be, do you feel connected with an organization within your community? Maybe that's a church group or a nonprofit group or a sports league of some sort. If you pick apart these different parts of your life, do you feel a sense of, I belong here? And that can shift as we go through life. That can shift quite a bit. This topic came to the surface because it's something I have wrestled with my entire life. And a lot of times it's easy for people to look at extroverts that are positive, such as myself, and think like, oh, well, it's all, they just had it easy, they have it all together. And while I have a really fantastic nuclear family that I grew up with, I had a lack of sense of actually belonging. I was the only girl out of four children, and so I have three older brothers, and I don't know, psychologically speaking, I don't know if that's where all this stems and everything, but it's a very interesting dynamic of, well, I don't belong, I'm odd man out of a lot of activities by nature of my gender, and how things worked. It's just the reality of how that was. I was also very included in a ton of things, but definitely there is that difference. The guys were For a while, they all shared one bedroom together, and they had, they had their things. They had football. I didn't play football. They have, they had their activities that brought them together in a different way. I was not part of that. And even as an adult, in all reality, they take trips, and it's their time together, and I'm not there. So there's an interesting dynamic when we talk about sense of belonging. And um, and it has a much deeper impact in our lives than I think that we give it credit for. We can constantly be searching after that place where we belong. And here's some sticky spots that we get into. The sticky spot, and I'm going to throw myself under the bus, whatever we decide to tell ourselves will become part of the truth in our life. Right. So if we're constantly telling ourselves, as I did growing up, I don't belong, I don't belong, I don't belong, well, guess who's not going to belong? Right. So you have to find, what am I telling myself and how is this serving me? Ironically, because I didn't feel a sense of deep belonging, I wanted everyone else around me to belong. And that's been part of my life. Be inclusive, have all these people around you, like draw people in, give people a place of belonging, because people are important and unique and extraordinary. And so I had this drive, and I never ended up with this deep group of friends necessarily that I just was like, oh, this is my core group. Some of you have that, and that's a blessing. But I liked these people over here, and I like those people over there, and I like those people over there. And I was always what I would call a border person, somebody who is, accepted in a lot of different places, but never on the deep inside core of it. Very interesting concept. Left unchecked, this sense of belonging or lack thereof can really put a snag in life if it's left unchecked. It's really important that we evaluate this part, and that we don't all of a sudden become a victim. Oh, well, I didn't feel this sense of belonging. And this is a story that the narrative I have allowed to stick with me throughout my life. We have that choice. We could play that card, or we can level up our card. If right now, wherever you are, you're not sensing that feeling of I belong, there are some things that you can do. And that's what I want to share with you today. And I found this because I started doing some more digging and research and thinking, and just trying to expand my understanding out, because every so often within my own family that I am raising up and cultivating, I have this fear that can hold me, that says like, oh, I want my kids to feel this sense of belonging. No, I don't own them as a parent. I want them to feel that they belong, that they are loved, that they are accepted, that they are who they are is being cultivated, and that throughout life, that is going to be the tone every single time we are together. So to cultivate that takes effort. And if it's not something that you're familiar with or used to, you might not know how to go about cultivating that. I haven't consciously cultivated this. It's something that I see others do in different ways. And then we can step in, or I can step into that comparison trap, right? And so I have to be really careful when you're learning something new and you're trying to develop something new, cultivate something strong in your life, then you have to be very careful to not do the comparison and throw yourself under the bus too much. So as you are developing and you want to create a sense of belonging, we are not being victims. We are not saying this happened to us and this is the way my life is. This is going to be the story forever. We're saying we're making an effort. So the first step is make an effort. Are you engaging others? Are you reaching out that olive branch? Are you saying, hey, come join me? I always kind of think of a sandbox with kids, right? Come play over here with me. Are you including others in what you are doing? Conversely, when people are inviting you, are you receiving those invitations? Even if it's not your favorite activity, are you willing to say, thank you, that sounds like fun? Are you willing to step into belonging somewhere else? Building bridges is another step that's really important in cultivating that sense of belonging. You might have already trained your brain to find all the differences between you and this activity, you and this person, you and this group, right? You might have been so busy looking at all the differences that now it's really important to turn that around and say, how are we alike? This is where we build the bridges of relationships, right? And as we make the effort and we build those bridges, we can invite people to cross those bridges and we can meet on the bridge and we can have that sense of belonging. Another step in creating a sense of belonging is simply accepting others. And golly, I should just have a whole nother podcast episode on acceptance, because accepting others for who they are, for where they're at in their journey, is paramount. And I sure know that I need to be accepted, that I like for my sense of belonging, I know that I am always growing and changing. And as we are growing and changing into the next best version of ourselves, it's a little awkward, right? We talk about how when a baby is crawling, they're just crawling around and they have to crawl before they can start walking, and before they start running, they have to walk. There are awkward developmental stages that are uncomfortable and cumbersome and unstable. Are we accepting each other through the discomfort, through the growing pains? Belonging means I receive you and accept you where you are, because I know you're an amazing person that is growing and developing into the next best version of you. Really comes down to the golden rule on the acceptance, right? Treat others the way you would like to be treated. Extend that grace that you would want extended back to you as you are stumbling through a new phase and development in life, right? The final part I want to send you off with today is to make sure that you are minding your thinking. And that's why we have Mindset Mondays. If we have stinking thinking, it's going to come out in every part of our life. So just to circle back a little bit more on those words that stick, our thoughts stick also. And remember, our subconscious, it doesn't know good or bad, right and wrong. Our subconscious just simply hears and receives whatever it is that we are saying. So it is imperative that that message that you are sending to yourself is a correct message, one that is going to help you grow into something, beyond where you are today. So send yourself those messages of, I do belong. And wow, look at how we connect over here on this wavelength. Okay. Looking for those things in a conscientious way. Belonging isn't a unicorn that you can't have, that you can't find. It's not some pot of gold that is just, somewhere at the end of a rainbow that you're never going to find. But belonging is something that you can have. Not lowering your expectations, but putting your expectations in check of what belonging really is going to help you out. So as you are going through your week, I hope that you will digest this concept of belonging. I am certain that I'm going to come back to this topic again in an even deeper way, because this is really high level right now, but it's a topic that's really important. And I hope that you stick around on that journey with me. So when we live in a community where people have a sense of belonging, amazing things happen. And that's the type of world and community we want to create. And you get to be part of that. Today, as you go about your day, find small ways to let people know that they belong. If you're at home and you're with your kids, then, create a little space so that they have that sense of belonging. Maybe it's just having graham crackers and milk, or maybe it's, for me, I don't like to sit around and watch TV. I try to do this because I know that that is like part of me entering into the world of my daughter and belonging with her. So finding spaces where you belong with others and where they're inviting you in, receive those invitations and then extend that invitation, accept people where they are at, and be very aware of how you're thinking. Be aware if you have some stinking thinking to get rid of it right away, because there are great things at hand and you get to be part of that. If you haven't already subscribed to Ask Me How I Know, I'd be honored if you subscribed. If you haven't shared this with anyone, or even if you have, I would absolutely be honored. I don't advertise. This is a grassroots, this podcast will grow as awesome listeners like you spread the message and word around. And if this content is serving you well and helping you, shoot me an email. You can shoot it to askmehowiknowpodcast@gmail.com. Your words mean the world to me, and you are important to me. And I'm so excited about sharing this journey and growing into our next best versions together. Until next time, go find your freedom. Thanks so much for joining me for another episode of Ask Me How I Know. This episode was brought to you by 3 Keys Investments. They are dedicated to helping people like you, you, my awesome listeners, develop passive income and legacy wealth through multifamily investing. Feel free to check out their website, 3keysinvestments.com, to see if there's an offering that will help your portfolio grow and meet all of your needs. If you haven't already rated, reviewed, subscribed, liked, all of those bells and whistles, I would be absolutely honored if you would do that for Ask Me How I Know. Thanks again, and go make it a great day.